So welcome back to Lex Reads. So in today's video, I wanted to do an author spotlight. If you guys are familiar with my channel, been watching me for a while, you guys know this author is one of my favorites. She has become one of my favorites. I got introduced to her, I want to say about 3 years ago. Since then, every year I read a book by her or two, and that author is Diane McKinney-Whetstone. Diane McKinney-Whetstone is on my list of favorite authors. She is an automatic buy, and she is an author, in my opinion, that does not get a lot of praise and recognition. And this author is just spectacular. All her books are different. They're always set in Philadelphia because she is from Philadelphia. It is, different characters in different settings. Her her writing is so gripping. It tells a well-rounded story. Her sentence structures are amazing. If you want an entertaining book, if you want a book that you're going to turn the pages to, if you want a great story, you need to pick up Diane McKinney-Whetstone. And I wanted to go through all of her books. Now, I think it's one that I do not have. I actually left it at work. So we're going to go through her whole catalog. And I also share my favorites of hers and also which one you should start with if you haven't read her. So before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so let's go in order. Her first book is Tumbling. Now, as you guys can see, this is a raggedy copy because I got it from a library sale and I was like, oh, I have to get it because I did not have it. I do plan on getting another copy because I really did enjoy this book. And this book, y'all, does not read like a debut novel. So you have Herbie and Noon. They have recently got married. Herbie, he was a musician back in the day. He marries Noon. They've never consummated their marriage. And Noon is harboring a horrible secret. That secret is preventing her, from the marriage bedroom, basically. So one day, the child stumbles across their steps and they like, this Herbie's child. And she's like, wait, what? So they bring her in. A couple months go by. Then all of a sudden, another child comes to their steps. And it's Herbie's child. You guys already know this is a small community, so people are talking. You got that gossip, you got that drama, you got that tea. Girl, it is so, so, so good, okay? And when you read this book, you will understand why it's called Tumbling. Oh, you guys, it is so good. Now, I would say, although I did not start with this book when I first start reading her works, but I would start with Tumbling first. I honestly would. And then you can go through, her catalog. Her next book was Tempest Rising, and I believe I have a reading blog on this book. I will put it down below. No spoilers, of course. Okay. It's in Philadelphia, of course. You have a family. It's a working family. They have, I believe, 3 daughters. Yeah, 3 daughters. And the father owns is it like a catering business or something like that? The family just falls apart because the father, something tragic happens to him. The mother, she has a nervous breakdown, and the girls have to go into foster care. And I love the way that Diane wrote these young girls. I think they're like each like 2 years apart, and you have one that's really quiet. You have the youngest one, and then you have the like middle child. And the middle child, of course, is the one that's telling all the tea and like, I don't like none of y'all. I think in that vlog, you guys please watch it. I read some passages, and I love it. And because the girls, father owned his own business, they're like a working class family. So they're used to certain luxuries, and they go to this lady's home. And they're not used to that. They all got to share a room. They're not getting new clothing. I enjoyed this so much. Like I said, those 3 girls, they were a hoot. Okay, next is Blues Dancing. Now, this is the first book I ever read by Diane McKinney-Whetstone. And I remember I said, I am reading this the first of the year. And I also have a reading vlog on this. I think it was like one of my first reading vlogs or something. Another story, another set of characters that you are not going to forget. You have the young girl, preacher's daughter, comes from a well-established, family, and she goes to college. Again, a preacher's daughter, so she's sheltered. She goes to college, y'all, and she meets this young man, and he turns her life upside down. He introduces her to stuff she had, oh Lord, she didn't even know existed. Okay, he gets her together. But in comes this professor. He sees this potential. He knows that this girl, He knows that this girl is not used to this lifestyle. He knows that she's been sheltered. So he brings her in, he really helps her and molds her. But there's a control nature. So he does help her, but it's kind of like, you remember what I did for you. So you see her perspective of everything that goes on. And then you see the young man's perspective that, look, turned her out when she was in college. But his home life it's a lot. It is a lot. She talks about the relationship between a mother and a son when, the daddy leave and the mama kind of like, you the man of the house type of mentality. And you just see how each character's life goes on. As you hear me explaining these books, right? You see they're all different. The stories are all different. That's how good of a writer she is. She does not write the same characters in different settings. All these are different. The fact that she only writes about Philadelphia, it's just like, girl, you are just bad. Okay, next is Leaving Cecil Street. I also have a reading vlog on this. I'm telling y'all, this is my girl. This one, oh Lord. Okay. You have two young girls. They've been friends since they were kids. And one of the young ladies, her mom is very, 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 very heavy in the church. But when you learn her background, you realize, oh, okay. That's why you act the way you act. Okay. She got a pass and a half. So you have that young lady, her mom's real strict. Her mom's, really in the church. So a lot of stuff she can't do. Then you have her friend who comes from a decent family, but the one that can't do anything, the one that the mama real heavy in the church, she gets caught up and gets pregnant. And she like, girl, I don't know what I'm gonna do. My mom don't know that I'm messing around and da 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 da. So her friend like, look, I know a lady that can kind of solve your problem. They do oh Lord, try to do an abortion and it ends up, oh, yeah. One thing I love about this book is, you get the daughter's perspective, but you also get the parents' perspective. And you see how they're kind of linked, in some way. Oh, it was so good, you guys. This reminded me of, have you guys ever read the book Women of Brewster's Place by Gloria Naylor? Or have you seen the miniseries back in the 80s with Oprah Winfrey and Jack A and Lynn Whitfield? It gives you that vibe. You remember, and that story, how you got the block party, in the Brewster projects, and it's a lot of things that happen during that block party. It gives you kind of that feel, it gives you that feel a little bit, but a different story, obviously. Also, that I love about Diane McKinney-Whetstone is even her minor characters are memorable, and she has a way of writing so detailed where you feel like you are there. Okay, next is Trading Dreams at Midnight. Now, I have not read this book. I got this last month, I want to say. I got this from Amazon. And this, it says Nina's mother, Frida, disappears on a cold February morning in 1984, leaving the 15-year-old Nina and her younger sister, Tish, in the care of Nan, their estranged grandmother. 2 decades later, Nina, no longer living in Philadelphia, supports herself by blackmailing married men, returning to her childhood home when a sting goes terribly wrong. She avoids her grandmother while attempting to pull one night hustle on a prominent local lawyer. As Nina, Tish, and Nan reunite, each confronts her own memories of the past and dreams for the future. You already know that is going to be good because you know what that screams. Drama and tea. Next book is Lazaretto, and I actually read this last month. So this is set, I believe, is it post-war, post-civil war, I believe. You have two women. So you have one woman, she is pregnant. She got impregnated by her master. Yeah, basically her master, a white man, obviously. And he, look, had no business doing what he was doing. He was trying to get the baby aborted, but she was too far along. The nurse is like, yeah, we can't do nothing about this. She's about to go into labor. So she goes into labor, has the child, and the nurse is told to tell her that her child has died. but the child has not died. She's like, I have to tell this lady that her baby died, knowing that her baby did not die. And they like, yes. But she is harboring the fact that she lied to this lady, right? So some time goes by, and the young lady who, was told that her baby had passed, she goes to a orphanage to like volunteer, and she ends up raising these two young boys, white boys, and raises them up. And so you get, her perspective of, her life and the boys, whatever. Then you also learn about the midwife, and she tells, her story and her life. Again, amazing. Okay, next is Arjun. And I just recently got this when I went to New Orleans, and I got it from Botwood and Co. And this, you have four women. They've known each other since they were, younger. So you're going to see their lives when they're younger, and you're going to see their lives when they are older. And each got a story, each is going through a situation. Again, love those stories when you can see, the perspective of when they were younger and when they were older. And I love the cover is so pretty. And then lastly is Family Spirit, and that just came out this month. So it says Ayana has inherited the knowing gene that the Maces believe have been passed down to at least one girl child in every generation from as far back as they can trace. But her mother has tried to convince her that she is nothing like those weird Mace women. To keep the peace, Ayana lies to everyone, to the Maces, insisting she never felt a knowing, to her mother about participating in the rituals, and to herself about her relationship with a man who helps her recover time and time again from the mania she experiences after seeing into the future. This is a family saga, which I love, and The Secrets to Lies. It has a little touch of magical realism, which I can kind of take a little bit. I told you guys about my little saga trying to get this book where on pub day, I could not find it. I went to a local bookstore. They did not have it. I went to Barnes and Noble. They did not have it. And I wanted to buy it the first week because that's important. When you are supporting a author, you either want to pre-order it or you want to buy it the first week. So I had to order it on Amazon. But I was a little annoyed because I'm like, this book just came out and y'all don't have it. And that's what I mean by some of these Black authors not getting their praise and recognition. And where if it's a popular author, they're going to make sure that they have, their books in store, which I know it's a business. You know what I mean? You put the books in there if you know that you're going to generate money. And unfortunately, since she is an author that does not get all that praise and recognition, they're not going to put her books in there because they're like, well, it's not going to sell a lot. You know what I mean? Which is so sad. I've seen once or twice her book Tumbling in store in like a Barnes and Noble. So that's always a sad part when you think about, these authors, especially Black women authors. And if you are not like a Toni Morrison or Alice Walker or a, Maya Angelou, like you're not going to be able to get those books in stores. It's going to be rare. And if it is, it might have one book and that's it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, she will continue to be one of my favorites. I will buy her books until she is not writing them anymore. I highly recommend her works. You guys know how much I talk about Diane McKinney-Whetstone. Again, I would say start with Tumbling. That's her first book. And then just go through her catalog. And again, I'll put those reading vlogs so you guys can get a taste of her writing because I read, some passages so you guys can see. So yeah, guys, that's all I have for you. And I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.